Evening, America. This is Battleground live from sea to shining sea and everybody in between. Welcome, Patriots. It is Friday. And holy cow, I mean, it was a short week, but the week flew by. I'm so grateful to have you all here. We got so much to talk about today. I'm just going to tell you this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Today was a great day. I'm sure we're going to talk about stuff that is going to stress you out a little bit, but today, oh my gosh, it was like a sledgehammer taken to the radical left, and I'm going to break all of that down here in just a second. But before I do, make sure you smash that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video. Smash it. It helps us get on the leaderboard, and we've been making it more and more often, and that is, of course, thanks to you. I'd also love to give a shout out to George from Born to Ride for 45. So you see this shirt right here. I absolutely love this shirt. I wear it all the time. See, it's Born to Ride with 45. The brilliant red, white, and blue 45 there in the middle. It's got this awesome emblem on the back. Well, George sent me a bunch of other t-shirts. So this is what the back of these shirts look like. Born to Ride for 45, Donald J. Trump. And then he also sent an awesome hoodie, right? Look, Born to Ride for 45 hoodies. And I'm telling you, I know that Brockstar, my producer extraordinaire, is listening. We should definitely link up the Wendy Bell Radio Army, the Wendy Bell Radio program with some Born to Ride 45 gear because it is awesome. But George, thank you. He also sent some V-neck shirts to Commander Melanie. And I got to tell you, Commander Melanie loves her V-neck shirts. And so she's been rocking her Born to Ride with 45 shirt as well. We wear them into government buildings. Anywhere that people might be offended, we wear them. So George and everybody that's a part of the organization Born to Ride with 45, thank you. We greatly appreciate your support. The title of the episode is Unrelenting Lawfare because that is exactly what's happening. Think about all of the things that have happened over the last several months. Just one monumental historic event after the next. I mean, I feel like we did 30 minutes straight on this show about President Trump's mugshot. And at the time, boy, we thought, and I still think that was earth-shattering, that something like that could ever happen in America. And now it seems like ancient history. And here we are right back into the lawfare phase of the operation. And the reason why I think that's happening is because panic is setting in among the Democrats. I think they thought they'd be able to run Kamala Harris. And I'm not saying that Trump is running away with this thing. In fact, the standing rule on this show is that we take nothing for granted. We don't get complacent. Why? Because complacency kills. We campaign like we're 10 points down, and we sprint to the finish. This race is going to be close. But I think panic is setting in amongst Democrat operatives and folks behind the curtain because they realize exactly what I've been telling you all along. And that is that the more Kamala Harris talks, the less popular she gets, which is why the Democrats are trying to hide her the way that they are. But if you look at the polling, and again, we don't trust polls, and I repeat myself on the show, folks. I know that the OG members of the battle crew, the OG listeners, people who've been around since the very beginning, you might have heard me say this, but we get new listeners and new viewers every day. But we don't trust one singular poll here on this show. We don't. We love Savage Rich Barris. We think he's the best pollster in the business. But for us, it's more important to look at trends. And if you look at the trends going back, and at least in the polling, say until August 18th, Kamala Harris over time has seen a slow erosion in the polling to where the polymarket betting odds has Trump with like a 2-touchdown lead odds of winning the Electoral College. I mean, polymarket having him, percentage-wise winning Pennsylvania handily. Again, I'm not saying it's not going to be close. It's going to be close. But I think the Democrats realize that this is happening. And I think their Hail Mary is trying to put Trump in jail prior to the election. But guess what? Guess what? That isn't going to happen. So let me give you a quick rundown. What's not going to happen before the election? I should say that. Just caveat what I was about to say with that. It's not going to happen before the election. But let me give you a quick rundown of what happened today. So in the last 5 or so hours, you had appeals courts in both Michigan and North Carolina ordering RFK Jr.'s name to be removed from the ballot, which is a huge loss for Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, who was fighting to keep his name on the ballot. Now, the interesting thing is that when RFK was actually running, she was fighting to get him off of the ballot, fighting to kick him off. And then when he wasn't running, she was fighting to kick him on. And the good news is that it looks like, well, it doesn't look like, a Michigan appellate court saw through that and ordered his name be removed. The same thing happened in North Carolina. This is creating a panic in the Democrat Party amongst Democrat operatives. Mark my words. Because the only reason they wanted RFK on the ballot is in the hopes that the RFK would siphon votes away from Donald Trump. Well, again, not gonna happen. What also happened today was that Juan Merchan, the corrupt bastard in a black robe in New York, a Democrat operative communist hack judge, delayed Trump's sentencing until I think November 26th, after the election. Also happened today. The National Fraternal Order of Police endorsed President Trump, a national law enforcement agency. So this is a big deal. Huge win for conservatives today. Huge win. And look, in the war, we got to celebrate victories of certain battles, right? This is a long war, political war, culture war, a war for the heart and soul of this country. We got to celebrate the victories that we have. And this, hey, on a Friday, it's a pretty damn good day for a victory, is it not? So yeah, November 26th is when it looks like Trump will or will not be sentenced, okay? Now, to me, the stakes of this election just got a hell of a lot higher. Because, especially for Trump and his family, because it really comes down to this. If Trump wins, and again, he's got all sorts of momentum, which is why they're trying to throw him in jail and do all this other stuff. But if Trump wins, no jail. They can't put him in jail. It's done. It's over with. Lawfare. He and along with the American people defeated lawfare. If Trump loses, it's very likely, or not trying to exaggerate here, but he could spend the rest of his days behind bars if the deep state wanted him to. But that's the stakes of this election. Trump win and is in the Oval Office, or Trump loses and he's behind bars as a political prisoner for what could be the remainder of his life. But that shouldn't take away. Yes, we know that the stakes of this election could not be higher. We know that our country is on the line and we're fighting to save our country. We know and we understand all that because, of course, we do. But do you ever think that you would be living in a moment in America where the leading political candidate might just find themselves in prison if they lose? I mean, I'm looking in the live chat right now. I see Ray, I see Wiser, I see Regina, I see Sharon, Todd, Tucson, Lisa, Dory, Pat. Do you ever think, and I'm asking, I want to hear what you all have to say. Do you ever think you'd find yourself in a country? I mean, seriously, think about this. I know that as Republicans, at least I'm able to have liberal friends. I mean, maybe not anymore. Liberals are so crazy, but that never really was politics was never really a dividing line for me. Now the left has gotten increasingly crazy over the years, but did you ever think that you might see a leading candidate for either party going to prison based on trumped up BS charges. No pun intended, of course. Do you ever think you'd see that? I mean, I want to hear your responses in the live chat. I see no. Yeah, I never, never, never from Demzo. And Spar, of course, has to be the contrarian saying, yes, it's been building for decades. Well, I mean, yeah, no way ever. I never thought I'd see it, folks. I never did. But I see where Spar is coming from when he talks about it being building for decades. Because part of me wonders, you look back to the Iraq War, and they lied about the Iraq War, said that there were weapons of mass destruction. We know that those lies cost tens of thousands of American lives, hundreds of thousands of American wounded, over a million Iraqis dead. What do we have in Iraq? What do we have to show for our fighting, our blood, our treasure, all that sacrifice there? Almost a generation of Americans, post 9/11 Americans who volunteered to serve this country, knowing that they would go to war, hoping that they could defend a country. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kids who just loved this country, rose up to fight for it. They get sent into a war that was based on false pretenses. And I am not in any way, and never, ever, ever, ever will bash any of their service. That will never happen. But we were lied to, right? So I see where Spar's coming from when he says maybe it's been building for decades, because how long have we been lied to? Just as a matter of routine. And not just how long, but how often have we been lied to? I mean, the Democrats, every single time they open their mouth, they lie about something. Joe Biden was just giving a speech today, bumbling and stumbling his way through his speech. And guess what he did? He trotted out the suckers and losers hoax. And on the tail end of trotting out the suckers and losers hoax, he said, my son spent a year in Iraq, died after a year in Iraq, giving the impression that his son died in Iraq. And then he said, Trump's the sucker, Trump's the loser, to a raucous applause from the audience. But the Democrats just lie as a matter of routine. That's all they have. And one wonders how often our government and the deep state and the blob and our intelligence communities have been lying to us. Am I just waking up to this now? Do you ever ask yourself that question? I know many of you are probably older than me. Post 9/11, invade Afghanistan, invade Iraq. Okay, that's half of my life, at least, that the government has been lying about almost everything. And when they're asked about those lies, they tend to double down. I stumbled on this video of Dick Cheney. And this is relevant because both Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney have come out today and said, or yesterday and today, and said that, they're voting for Kamala Harris. Steadfast conservatives, Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, well, they just can't vote for Donald Trump because he's a, quote, danger to democracy. So they're voting for Democrats now. Again, one wonders, have these people ever been Republicans? Were they just plants? Were they just faking it to make it? Because to the people in the chat, could you ever foresee a scenario? Even if you didn't, I see Horseman saying, yeah, the lie started at least back in Vietnam, if not before. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You're probably right. But let me ask you all, principled American patriots, maybe some of you not even American, but patriots, anti-globalists. Could you ever see a singular scenario where you would vote for Kamala Harris? Even if you didn't like Trump, even if you didn't like whoever the Republican is, could you ever foresee a scenario where you voted for any member of the radical left? I'm looking at the live chat. I want to hear what you think. I'll answer. There's no way in hell I could ever, 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 ever do that. To me, it would be a betrayal of the oath that I took to protect and defend this country. Look at the people in the chat lighting up. Not a chance. No, never, not a chance in hell. F no, Tucson man. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Dory, I'd suck it up and vote for a rhino. Oh, look at Freddie Sholey, all caps, never. Bilkern says, Sean, I have children your age. I love how animated you all are. You're the best audience in the world. But yeah, there's no way I could vote for a radical commie liberal who wants to destroy this country. No way. And I saw this soundbite of Dick Cheney that just stood out to me and almost sent me off the deep end. And I want you to hear it too.
I don't think you can make a case that the world would be better off today if Saddam Hussein were still in power.
So no regrets about Iraq?
I think we made exactly the right decisions.
So no regrets about Iraq. I think we made exactly the right decisions. There's no way that man is that dumb. There's no way. The world is a far less safe place today because of what we did in Iraq. The void that we created in Iraq gave rise to Iran. I mean, the reason why Blinken, Secretary of State Blinken, is out there saying that Iran could be 2 weeks away from a bomb is because we deposed Saddam Hussein in Iraq with this ridiculous regime change bullshit. Saddam Hussein was the ultimate check and balance for the terrorists in Iran. They were both constantly fighting one another, looking to defend their countries against one another. And while they were focused inward, they weren't focused outward. And us getting involved in a war that had nothing to do with us made the world less safe. But here you have Dick Cheney, who is now proudly voting for Kamala Harris, along with Liz Cheney, who's now proudly voting for Kamala Harris, saying, oh, no, we made the exact right choice. Nothing, not a big deal at all. Everything's absolutely just fine. It makes me wonder, with friends like these, right? With conservatives like this on our side, what hope do we have to win? And so I suppose that I'm very grateful, very, very grateful for Trump for a lot of different reasons. Many, many reasons. Not the least of which is the fact that Trump, him running for office in 2016, exposed all of these turncoat losers, rhino losers on our side who've done nothing but fly under the radar and I think are closet leftists. I just asked you all a question. Could you ever vote for a radical leftist? And I saw your responses. No, I'd hold my nose and vote for the rhino if need be, because even a rhino is better than a radical leftist like Kamala. So how then do principled conservatives like Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney vote for a radical commie who's hell-bent on destroying this country? It makes no sense. Only if you view them as plants within our movement, Democrat plants within our movement. It's the only other way it can be explained. Or they just let their massive ego get in the way and that blinds them to everything else. But I think that gives them too much credit because they're a hell of a lot smarter than that. All right, let me take a quick break and tell you about My Patriot Supply. Actually, check this out. I'm trying to do a better job of actually showing you these websites. This is My Patriot Supply. To me, this is all about protecting your family and your loved ones. And what you're seeing right now is like the mega 3-month emergency food kit. Like you see all that right there. It's pretty amazing. It includes creamy chicken flavored rice, old fashioned Italian spaghetti, savory, cheesy broccoli soup. But you also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans, plus 9 different fruits, vegetables, and snacks. All in all, this emergency food kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well fed and ready for anything. The way I see it, it's my solemn duty as an American to protect my family without waiting on government handouts. And if things go south, ladies and gentlemen, America, things will go south very, very fast. And to me, I'm just not gambling with my family's safety. So I'm going to do everything I can to prepare on all fronts to be hard to kill. Just be ready for the worst. And if you don't need this stuff, fine. Doesn't matter. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So all of this starts with My Patriot Supply, but also food that you can depend on for up to 25 years. So go to preparewithbnn.com right now. Save $300 on your mega 3-month emergency food kit. What you see right here on the screen is the mega 3-month emergency food kit. All of that ships fast and it ships free. Go to preparewithvnn.com, save $300 on your kit. That's preparewithvnn.com. Although I'll tell you this, be forewarned. I've heard from folks who have ordered this, and this isn't like a negative thing, but there's a lot. Like there's a lot. It takes a lot to lug this stuff into your house. To just keep that in the back of your mind. If you have a long driveway and they're dropping your mail at the end of the driveway, we have an insanely long driveway here at Fort Parnell. It would be hell to just carry those things up my driveway to get in the house. There's a lot of food that comes with this stuff. So just have a plan for that if you decide to order it. Also, let me tell you about the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company is also a great sponsor of the show. This is what the Wellness Company medical emergency kit looks like. I mean, look, you saw what our government did during COVID. You saw how they refused to prescribe hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and all that stuff. Well, the Wellness Emergency Medical Kit, like you get, all these famous doctors, Dr. McCullough and stuff, all working very hard to put together these medical kits. And it looks like this. It comes with all of these different prescription medications. Ivermectin's in here, but you got antibiotics, you got antiparasitics, you got antivirals. I mean, you name it, you got it. And you got this like handy little instruction manual to get like a specific guide to teach you how to take here you go, amoxicillin in here and how to take it, the dosage requirements and everything like that. I'm telling you folks, this is a pretty awesome kit. In the event of an emergency, you should have it. So they've got the medical emergency kit, which is what I just showed you. They got the contagion kit, the first aid kit, and the travel kit. But these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medication and guidebooks to assist you in the proper use of these medications. From anthrax to tick bites, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Rest assured, knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help you and your family stay safe from whatever the globalists throw at us next. That's a very, very good thing. So if you're interested in the Wellness Company, I urge you to go to www.twc.health/battleground. That's www.twc.health/battleground today and order twc.health/battleground. Use the promo code battleground and save 10%. Very, very important that you use the code battleground, because without that, they won't know it's a member of the battle crew ordering from the Wellness Company. And it's critically important that we support these sponsors to the best of our ability, because they're what keep my show independent. I don't take money from shows, or I don't take money from sponsors, rather, that tell me what to say. I don't care how much money it is. No one's telling me what to say. And that's my promise to you, is that, you're always just going to get unvarnished me. Like, I don't give a damn how much somebody pays me. I ain't pushing anybody else's narrative. I don't give a damn who it is. Okay. So this Trump press conference, it was historic for a lot of reasons. I want to talk about it here for a little bit, but the main thing to me is the contrast. Campaigns are all about drawing a contrast. And here you have President Trump that's doing rallies with tens of thousands of people. You have him doing stand-up press conferences for 45 minutes. You have him doing press conferences where he's just addressing the press, maybe not answering questions, but addressing the press on the issues of the day that matter, just rattling them off without even notes. He's doing town halls. He's doing interviews, both hostile and otherwise. He's got J.D. Vance out there doing stand-up pressers at every single event. He has J.D. Vance doing the Sunday show circuit all the time. Both of these people, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, are sitting down and doing long-form interviews on podcasts. Well, the last one with President Trump was with Lex Friedman, where he answered a bunch of difficult questions. And what the hell is Kamala Harris and Walz doing? They're doing nothing. In fact, the one interview that Kamala Harris and Walz was sitting there as like kind of her safety blanket, the one damn interview that she did was an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. So listen to Trump during this presser speaking right to the heart of the issues. And I think, let me give you the strategy here. I think what Trump and his team are trying to do was get out in front of all of this lawfare and set the media narrative before these communist, corrupt judges could do it, and the media could take what these judges say and spin. Trump wanted to preempt all of that. And for those people who think that Trump doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know how to handle the media, boy, you could not be more wrong, because this man really understands how the media cycle works, how the media processes things, how narratives are developed. So listen to him get out front of and co-opting this narrative, this lawfare fake news narrative that the media was undoubtedly going to run with.
They're using the Department of Justice to rig the campaign. These cases are disgraceful. Now, they're brought, for the most part, in front of very hostile areas where Republicans get 3 or 4%, like downtown Manhattan, in front of very hostile judges, like you wouldn't believe. Judge Merchan, Judge Engoron, and Judge Kaplan, all of them hostile areas and very, very hostile judges. I've never seen anything like it. And very bad thing in this case, New York, very bad thing for New York. Businesses won't come to New York because of what took place with Judge Engoron. I can tell you that.
Well, Mr. President, you have seen it happen before, because it happened to me. Like, I get it. Running for Senate, Democrat judge appointed over just my case, specially appointed by a Democrat, Pennsylvania Supreme Court. This is how the Democrats fight. But looking back, and I regret this. For whatever reason, and I hope that you don't think less of me, I just trusted back then, before all this lawfare stuff started spooling up, I just trusted back then that the system would work as it should. Call me naive or whatever. I mean, I don't trust it anymore. But back then I just figured, hey, it's a system. It's going to work fine. It's not political. I could not have been more wrong. And what I regret more than almost anything in the world is that I did not do press conferences like that. Because what the Democrats in power and their allies in the media will do is smear you in the court of public opinion. And if cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom to see a deliberation, to see the judge's comportment on the stand, to see how witnesses talk on the stand, like, what do you think America would have seen after watching a couple hours of Stormy Daniels' testimony? The American people, by and large, are not stupid. They would have seen that and be like, oh my God, Trump is 100% innocent. Oh my God, this woman is a disaster. But because there aren't cameras allowed in the courtroom for deliberations, the whole thing is told through the corrupt lens of the media. And because it's told through the corrupt lens of the media, they can spin fake narratives and they can create narratives out of whole cloth. So Trump doing this and doing these pressers is genius, because it co-ops all of that. And I regret having 3 years. I should have done the same damn thing, but I was wrong. But here's Donald Trump taking the media and taking these fake news hacks to task. Listen to this. I love how he doesn't back down.
We have a whole rigged election system. Nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening. Now I understand. Yesterday they're bringing up Russia again, that they've done for years. Never found anything. But they should be looking at China, Iran, lots of other places. I haven't spoken to anybody from Russia in years. They know that, but it's a scam. But it all goes back to the DOJ, because we had a trial today. It's an appeal of a ridiculous verdict of a woman I have never met. I don't know. I have no idea who she is. She wrote a book and she made a ridiculous story up. She put it in her book, and we're now appealing the decision. We had an extremely hostile judge appointed by Clinton, very good friends of Clinton. I guess he presided over the marriage ceremony of one of the lawyers on the case against us. And it's very sad. Judge Lewis Kaplan, angry man. He was so angry. I went to the trial. I've been in a lot of litigation over the years. I've never seen such anger, or wanted to throw one of our attorneys in jail, who threatened her with jail. Nobody's ever seen anything like it over nothing. I've never seen such anger, but all of our judges, I mean, we had a brilliant judge, and I think a very fair judge in Florida. I think we have another judge who's very fair. I just ask for fair. I don't want any.
I mean, look, Trump is right to talk about this, because the whole reason why they're putting gag orders on Trump has nothing to do with people's safety. Nothing. Like, these judges will be like, oh, the safety of my family and the court. That's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. Excuse my language. But Trump's not threatening anybody. The American people deserve to know, they deserve to see the corrupt underpinnings of this rotten system. And oh, by the way, this local judge in New York, this local Manhattan bastard in a black robe, communist thug, Merchan and Goron, and all these other losers like Kaplan, these people are nothing burger judges in heavily Democrat areas that are going to potentially disenfranchise millions, tens of millions of Americans who would vote for Donald Trump. This is election interference through and through. And Donald Trump pointed to the Department of Justice being corrupt and how this all goes back to the Biden Department of Justice. And he's right. He's right. Did you see the story that Crowder, Louder with Crowder? I don't know if you watch Stephen. I don't watch him, but I watched him break this massive story of the DOJ chief of public affairs talking about the Trump trials and the lawfare against Trump. Do you know what he said? If not, listen, I'll show you.
He was stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. I think the case is nonsense.
I think the case is nonsense.
To make him a convict, a convicted felon. It affects his candidacy if he's a convicted felon.
It's a travesty of justice, a mockery of justice.
A travesty of justice, a mockery of justice. Now, this is like a 13-minute video. We're not going to show that entire video on the show. You should go watch it. But what a hell of a story that Crowder was able to break. But that's a member of the DOJ, chief of public affairs, saying, I think the case is nonsense. I think it's a travesty of justice. I think it's a mockery of justice. The whole thing is disgusting. So if the DOJ, the people within the DOJ are saying that, you can bet that this is insanely and disgustingly political for a lot of different reasons. It's all about keeping the Democrats in power. All of it. I've said from day one that much of this was about, that I believe that there's a spiritual war happening in this country. I do. I believe in good and evil, and I'm not trying to get overly religious. I understand that maybe all of us are not. But I believe that ground zero for the fight is here in America. And why? Why shouldn't it be? We're the most powerful country on earth. If we go down, everywhere else is cloaked in darkness. That's just how I feel. And for whatever reason, I've thought for a long time, I've always admired about how Donald Trump can, the whole Teflon Don stuff doesn't do it justice. It's more than that. It's just about how he can just take this stuff and endure. He just takes it and keeps going. Doesn't matter what the media says. He just keeps going, one foot in front of the next. And all the while, the deep state and these Democrats and even some of these moronic, useful idiot Republicans they've escalated things. We said on the show 6 months before the assassination attempt, along with, some other courageous conservative influencers, said that, boy, this isn't going to end well. They're going to try to take this guy out. And they did. And I was talking about this with Commander Melanie today. And Trump should be dead. He shouldn't be here. Everyone, I know that everyone says, oh, thank God this guy wasn't a good shot. Again, I disagree. He hit Trump on the first shot. He hit him. Had Trump not moved his head at the exact right moment, I mean, at the exact right moment, he'd be dead. I mean, that bullet would have struck him in the head. He would have died in front of the whole world. And so, look, I don't know what you all believe. I wouldn't presume to, force a religion on any of you or spirituality on any of you. If you're not, I'm Catholic, but there's absolutely something going on. And it always, I'm not saying Donald Trump is the chosen one or anything crazy like that, but listen to what CBS aired about Donald Trump. I just thought it was interesting, even more so because it was on CBS.
Some people say, from their vantage point, Trump is a chosen one. Others say he's anointed.
And people like me would say Trump becomes a once-in-a-thousand-year meteor that shoots over. You're not going to find a whole lot of future politicians like Trump that come out of private enterprise, have a media background, and somehow capture the popular zeitgeist and are able to actually come in from the outside as a novice and become a president. That's kind of when you're getting biblical. Like, there you're praying and emerges a person. I caught that idea in 2015 when I first met Trump. I met him up at Trump Towers. And at that time, I ran across Isaiah 45, and I said, oh my gosh, this guy is like the character Cyrus in the Bible, in that he's a deliverer who God raises up prophetically. Isaiah is prophesying a future deliverer named Cyrus. And he's not even Jewish. And I said, this is going to really, and I wrote this in a book. I said, Trump derangement will happen, because I used the term before it was popularized, and I said, because this guy has a Cyrus quality that I believe means that he's an outsider. Even evangelicals are going to have a problem with him, because he's not going to come in as Ted Cruz or as Mike Huckabee or as Ben Carson or even a good Catholic like Marco Rubio. He's going to come in as a guy from Queens on his third marriage. And oddly enough, Isaiah 45 describes somebody who is an outsider who emerges as a deliverer for God's people. And so, to me, it was coincidental, but nevertheless prophetically significant. I said, hey, man, the 45th president will be an Isaiah 45 Cyrus. And he'll be likened to Cyrus even historically. And I said that, and I got a lot of pushback after he got elected, because they were searching around for how could the evangelicals justify voting for some, barbaric character like Trump, and they're hypocrites that they are. They say they're righteous, but they voted for Trump. And my name came up, and I think it justifiably came up, because I created a Cyrus narrative for evangelicals, which says that God sometimes raises up an outsider to deliver his people.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not saying that Trump is the chosen one. But what I am saying is that Trump has a guardian angel. Call it what you want. I am saying that there's something happening in this country right now that I never thought I would live through. It amazes me how Trump is able to handle this stuff. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think there's anybody else on the face of the planet that could do what he's doing at this specific moment in time. I mean, if Trump existed 100 years prior to this, or maybe even say 30, 40 years prior to this, and maybe he was running for president back then, like, it would have been a completely different time. He wouldn't have needed to be the person that he is. But it seems like that this guy is imperfect as he is. You know what I mean? I mean, he's an outsider. Like the guy said in the interview, he comes into this thing on his third marriage. Hey, look, I look down my nose at no one. It ain't my job to judge anybody. We all made mistakes in our lives. We all are throwing curveballs in our lives. Like, hey, like, life happens. It's just life. But I do believe that God raises up outsiders sometimes to deliver his message. And I do believe, and as time has gone by after witnessing it, I do believe that somebody was out there looking after Trump that day. Although I feel horrible saying it, because I Corey Compertore's family probably feels very differently, right? That's why I try to be very careful about that. But if you believe that the soul of this country is on the line, and I believe that it is, and you believe that everything happens for a reason, and I believe that it does, although I hate when people say it. Like, I hate it because normally they say it when you're at your lowest, right? Oh, you get kicked in the crotch and you're on the ground and someone says, oh, everything happens for a reason. Nobody wants to hear that at that moment, but it's true. Even things that happen to us in our lives that feel like hell in the moment. I mean, maybe there's a reason why that stuff happens. Like, I look at that horrible stuff that has happened in my life, and over time, horrible stuff ends up looking like a blessing almost. You know, for example, like that, I'm not trying to get too personal with people, but that custody trial for me was the worst time of my life. And I've knocked on doors for families of the fallen. I've been front towards enemy for 16 months. You know all that. But fighting to be, a father in the lives of my kid, never thought I'd have to fight to do that. But that ruling at the end of my Senate race was the worst time in my life. And I asked myself in that moment, like, my God, like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe it. And I didn't understand it in the moment. But looking back now, I have a great relationship with my children, and I think they realize that I fought for them, and I think they appreciate that. And things are great now, things, we're past that now, fully vindicated from that stuff now. It's in the rearview mirror. But I think we're closer now than ever before, maybe because of that hardship. I don't know. I don't know how the big guy upstairs makes decisions, but it certainly seems like something is happening in America right now, and I just can't explain it. And so with that, move on. Take a time. You all probably think that I'm insane, but let me tell you about Genesis Gold Group, one of the great sponsors of our show. Genesis Gold Group is, look, there are lots of gold companies out there. I like Genesis Gold a lot because their faith is intimately woven into every aspect of their company. I really like that about them. So with so many options available for Americans to protect their retirement or wealth with physical precious metals, it's really hard to know who to trust. And again, Commander Melly and I wondered this ourselves. Like, how the hell do you do this? Where does it go? Do you keep gold bars in your jacket like Bob Menendez? Does it stay in a bank? How the hell does this work? So fill out their paperwork. Go to rumblegold.com, get their definitive gold guide, ask as many questions as you want. But our partners at Genesis Gold are a faith-driven gold and silver company that is unabashedly America first. They don't try to hook people with free silver. There aren't any gimmicks. They just want to teach, coach, and mentor you every step of the way. Teach you how to invest in precious metals. Not talking about investing your whole retirement into precious metals. No, maybe just a little bit to hedge the risk that is the paper dollar, the risk that the paper dollar has become because of irresponsible politicians. So go to rumblegold.com today. That's rumblegold.com. Get their free definitive gold guide. That's rumblegold.com. Also, Red Beach Nation. This is an amazing conservative apparel and beachwear company. It's founded by a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. He's a former counterterrorism officer. You go to redbeachnation.com, just look at their website. It's freaking amazing. It's so sleek. Their clothing is really, really, really sharp. Everybody that I've talked to that has gone and bought their clothing, they love it. It's high quality, just super awesome designs, very red, white, and blue, very patriotic. And again, I love it because Red Beach Nation is founded by a veteran. And for me, it's just very, very important to take care of our veterans and their endeavors when they come home. Because coming home ain't easy. It's hard to find yourself. And when a veteran does find themselves and pour themselves into the next mission, and in this case, it's Red Beach Nation, we should support them. And so Red Beach Nation is just fully committed to upholding the values, the American values and principles that we all here in the battle crew just hold so near and dear to our hearts. Red Beach Nation is just pure Americana, red, white, and blue, spangly stuff. Absolutely love it. So Come live the sand, surf, and freedom lifestyle with us. Head on over to redbeachnation.com. Again, check out their website. It's freaking awesome. Their apparel is really awesome. That's redbeachnation.com. Don't forget to use the promo code Sean, SEAN. Save 10% off of your order. Again, that's redbeachnation.com. Promo code Sean. Save 10% off of your order. So we've been talking about the spiritual fight and the fact that we are up against the wall in many ways from very, very powerful entities, whether it's Democrats in power, Democrats in the White House, Democrats in Congress, Democrats in the Senate, their allies in the media, the deep state, Fortune 500 companies, our education system. Conservatives have ceded so much cultural ground. It's really hard to see through that haze sometimes. It just is. And so I want to come back to this Department of Justice Russia hoax 5.0 because I think it's interesting. I mean, I think it's interesting because prior to this Department of Justice hoax, I think is another, I don't trust a damn thing the Department of Justice says. And of course, I'll just recap for people if you're wondering what I'm talking about. The Department of Justice charged 2 Russians with funding Lauren Chen's Tenet Media, claiming they gave $10 million to influence U.S. politics. Chen has spent the last few months criticizing Trump for going weak on crime, immigration, and abortion. She called Vance a total blunder, contributing to a total lack of enthusiasm. So here's the thing. The way that this is being spun by the media is that this was some Russia influence operation to elevate Trump, to elevate America firsters. Well, clearly nothing could be further from the truth because all Chen was doing was trying to sow division. She was not a pro-Trump person. In fact, she was encouraging people to vote against Trump. And of course, the people that are caught up in all this, I know all of them. I know Tim Pool. I know Benny Johnson. I don't know Dave Rubin, but I know him, but I don't know him. But I know Benny Johnson and I know Tim Pool. These people aren't Russian agents. They were just caught up in this. Like maybe they didn't do their due diligence. I mean, maybe they didn't do a full up background check on working with Tenet Media to get us. But the thing is, even the DOJ indictment says that Tenet Media lied to them, you know? So without even getting into all of that, I just think the timing is so curious. Yeah, I just do. And again, another fantastic video by Maze Moore. And if you're not following him on X, you should, because this guy just puts together the best video sound bites in the business. But Pelosi started trotting out this Russia collusion stuff. I mean, she's been doing it since 2018, and I'm going to break that down here in a second. What you're going to hear are 4 different sound bites from Nancy Pelosi, like one in 2018, one in 2019, like one in 2020, and then one again this year in 2024. But she trots out this Russia collusion, Trump, Russia BS just before this indictment was dropped in 2024. It's just very, very suspicious to me. Listen.
I want to know what the Russians have on Donald Trump. I think we have to have that investigation by the FBI into his financial, personal, and political connections to Russia. What do the Russians have on Donald Trump? Politically, financially, and personally. What does Vladimir Putin have on President Trump? Personally, politically, financially, in any way. What does he have on Donald Trump? I think it's probably financial. Either something financial he has on or something on the come.
So that's what Pelosi says, that something financial. That last bit was her this year saying that. And then shortly after she starts saying that, this DOJ indictment drops implicating a bunch of conservative influencers who are now being falsely smeared. And I'm not talking about Lauren Chen. I mean, all this stuff is, innocent until proven guilty, right? But it implicates conservative influencers who didn't really know. And Pelosi's out there talking about Russia, this, and ties to Trump. And this all seems very artificial, doesn't it? The timing is all very, very curious. And then Vladimir Putin, now you're not going to understand what he's saying if you're just listening, but if you're watching, you can read the captions. This is Vladimir Putin at the exact time that all of this is happening is out there endorsing Kamala Harris.
that if we can name a favorite candidate, it used to be Joe Biden, but now he is not participating in the election campaign, and he recommended all his allies to support Ms. Harris. So that is what we are going to do. So it was, well, he said that we should, that is why we should also do that. Well, her laugh, she's laughing, her laugh is so fascinating. It means that everything is good, and if everything is good, it means that, for instance, if we're speaking about Joe Biden, there are so many sanctions against Russia introduced, and if everything is good with Ms. Harris, maybe she'll refrain herself from such measures, or maybe she'll change them.
I mean, Vladimir Putin's endorsing Kamala Harris because he knows that Kamala Harris is weak. He knows that Russia has never done better with Joe. I mean, they know that Trump's not going to put up with his BS. They know that Russia's doing great with Joe Biden and now, God forbid, Kamala Harris. Of course, Putin wants these Democrats. They're all weak-kneed losers. And of course, all this stuff comes out just before this horrendous news on the economy drops too, right? All this stuff is so curious to me. So news comes out today, the jobs, like the jobs report comes out, unemployment numbers comes out. And what we saw today, I don't know if you paid attention to this, but this is all so curious to me. Like, they dropped this Russia BS. The Democrats are clearly building up to this Russia deal. They clearly knew what was happening, right? And then everyone's focused on this Russia stuff, and all this horrible economic news drops today. So you have foreign-born workers, right? 635,000 in August, new foreign-born workers. Native-born workers, jobs, minus 1.3 million. Yes, 1.3 million native-born Americans lost a job in August, and that's according to Zero Hedge. Not only was there a downward revision of 86,000 jobs for June, 61,000 in July, and minus 25,000 in July, and manufacturing jobs, a loss of 24,000. I mean, we talk about these headline grabbing jobs numbers that are downwardly revised months later and then end up on page 5. Everybody seems to be covering this economic news, and it's not good. I mean, again, the American people know that it's not good. And this is why I think the Democrats and Kamala's campaign are ultimately going to fail, because Americans vote with their pocketbooks. But listen to Varney talking about these numbers on Fox today.
Okay, this shows a weakening economy. I'd refer you specifically to a revision in the numbers for June and July. We added 86,000 fewer jobs in June and July than initially reported. And we've just reported 142,000 jobs added to the economy in the month of August. That is a weakening economy with serious implications for a lot of people. For example, the market already thinks that interest rates...
CNBC?
I think we're in the type of recession eventually that comes due to this cycle of higher interest rates, higher inflation, the stress that puts on the consumer eventually hits their savings rates, increases their delinquency rates. That hits the employment markets, where we're already starting to see some signs of companies slowing down in terms of hiring. They've paused hiring already. I think the next step will be when we start to see more layoffs. And that then will bring you your run-of-the-mill, more of a normal type of recession.
She just said that we're in a recession. I mean, all of the economic indicators point to a recession, but the media, these hacks, these communists in the media, and on these Democrat thugs in the deep state are clearly covering it up. All of our economic indicators here in this country speak to the fact that we're in a recession right now, but they are cooking the books. So Kamala Harris was actually asked, not her, but one of her campaign lackeys, her campaign spokesperson, was asked about, hey, you've been in the White House for the last 3 years. Why should Americans trust anything that you're saying now? And listen to what this mouth breather said.
She's been part of the Biden administration. I mean, she has been part of the Democrats have been in control of the country for the last 3 going on 4 years. And you are still seeing this in the polling. I mean, these working class voters are telling us right now that more of them are with Donald Trump than Kamala Harris. Why? What is it about what you guys have been doing for the last 3+ years that explains that?
Well, I think, again, we're trying to talk to the voters and explain this message. We've got 60 days until the election. We don't have time to sit around and think about why over the last few years certain things may have happened or may not have happened. We've got to go win an election. And the vice president's doing that by talking about her economic vision. And it's really different. It's really different. It's a new way forward, not only for the Democratic Party, but for the country. It's really different. Okay.
You notice how he got. Remember, I told you you're going to hear a new way forward a lot. That's the branding, right? But we can't spend time thinking about what happened or what might not have happened over the last 3 years. We just new way forward. Don't look backwards at how horrible your lives have become under Biden Harris. Just look forward. I mean, these people are just a disaster in every way. In every way. Okay. Let me take a quick time out. Make sure you smash that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video, smash it. The more likes we get, the more likely it becomes for us to hit the leaderboard. Also, I've got to tell you about Sweetamine. If you're suffering from chronic pain, you should definitely get Sweetamine. Sweetamine works because it's comprised mainly of an amino acid called glycine, and that's the nutrient our immune system uses to regulate inflammation. Most of the diseases that make us sick and die these days, they're all rooted in chronic inflammation. All of those aches and pains that you feel as you get older, also due to chronic inflammation. Once daily serving of Sweetamine provides 8 grams of glycine. That's enough to stop all excess inflammation right where it starts. With once daily Sweetamine, most people feel the reduction in pain after just a couple days. It took me about a week, but I have never looked back. I absolutely love this stuff. Again, it's not a cure-all. It's not going to take your pain away just like that, but it definitely helps. Sweetamine is also great for recovery after workouts. 12-day challenge trial pack of Sweetamine is only $19.95. Free shipping, sold completely risk-free. So if you don't like it, you can send it back. Keep the Sweetamine, get your money back. Use Sweetamine just like sugar in your favorite beverage in a smoothie, sprinkled on your cereal. Take it any way you like. Put it in a protein shake. All natural Sweetamine comes
no sugar. Comes with no sugar, no carbs, 24 calories, great for diabetics. Get it at Sweetamine.com, SWEETAMINE.com. Or call 855-GET-SWEET. That's 855-438-7933. That's Sweetamine.com, 855-GET-SWEET, or 855-438-7933. And enter the promo code Sean, SEAN, and you will get a $5 discount. Also, folks, book a limo. Amazing company. If you are on the lookout for a top-notch transportation service, whether you're going to work or you're getting off an airplane, going on vacation, don't want to use Uber, use Book a Limo. It is so great. Melanie and I used this when we took a trip to Florida, second to none, chauffeur in the airport, little name on a placard. Melanie felt like they were rolling out the red carpet for us, but it's just par for the course with Book a Limo. All their prices are in line with Uber and Lyft. Book a Limo is a conservative company. They've got values like us, Uber, Lyft are not. Don't give your money to woke garbage companies. Support companies that share our values. And I love Book a Limo. The customer service is second to none. You get the cell phone number of your driver. You text him in the morning. You text him at night. You call him. He answers. He responds. It is great. Prices in line with Uber and Lyft. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a state-of-the-art experience from start to finish. So give them a call, folks. Give them a call, 1-800-BOOK-A-LIMO. That's 1-800-BOOK-A-LIMO, or book online at www.bookalimo.com. That's www.bookalimo.com. Trust me, they are your go-to for a safe, luxurious ride that you absolutely deserve. It's a VIP experience, and you all deserve it. Okay, I got to do a quick election integrity update before you all pop smoke for the weekend. Listen. Do you know about the SAVE Act, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act? I've told you about this months ago. It was when it was up for a vote in the House of Representatives. The SAVE Act requires proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections, okay? A potential government shutdown would be Schumer's fault here, right? Because what happened is Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, is debating whether or not to attach the SAVE Act to a spending bill prior to sending it over to the Senate. Democrats in the Senate are threatening to kill that portion of the spending bill and the SAVE Act altogether, not bring the bill to a floor, thereby shutting down the government. Now, weak Republicans, you know what they're saying? They're saying, oh my gosh, we shouldn't shut down the government. That's going to hurt us in elections. And so, in all likelihood, weak Republicans in the Senate are poised to kill the SAVE Act, to pass a budget, so as not to have any sort of government shutdown. Americans overwhelmingly agree that non-citizens shouldn't vote. Now, you should know that right now, because the Democrats will say, well, it's already illegal for illegal aliens to vote. Well, that is on the surface true, but the only thing stopping illegal alien invaders from checking a box the only thing stopping illegal alien invaders from registering to vote is checking a block that says U.S. citizen. If they already lied to get in this country, if they already broke the law to get in this country, do you think they might lie on a voter registration? And even if they don't vote, once they go on the rolls, someone else will vote for them in these swing states, and they will vote Democrat. So this is a huge deal you all need to be paying attention to, the Republicans. I'm telling you, you've got to be willing to shut down the government to make sure that the SAVE Act receives a vote in the Senate. Even if you lose, get the Democrats on record as voting for not wanting to protect our elections. Force them to take the vote. Make them say, yeah, I don't have a problem with illegal aliens registering to vote. Make them say it. Get them on the record. Stay in the fight. Don't just surrender before the fight even happens. This is very, 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 very important. We all know that the Democrats cheat. But it's going to require Republicans to stand up and say no. It's not going to happen. And so, folks, listen, good things are happening. Good things are happening. True the Vote is doing some great stuff. I saw also soundbite. I want to go out on a positive note into the weekend. True the Vote is partnering with sheriffs all across this country to surveil, watch, and live stream what happens at these drop boxes. It's a kind of a big deal, right? Listen, we are very familiar with the problems about drop boxes, and in states like Michigan and Wisconsin, one of the many tragedies was that they told their citizens that they would monitor those drop boxes, that they would have surveillance cameras on them, and they did not. And so we know that now. We know that the cameras are not to be relied upon. The beliefs that this would be monitored in any way is frankly not to be believed. And so what we are doing at True the Vote is taking it an extra step and working with sheriffs to identify areas that sheriffs would be willing to allow us to grant them camera equipment that then they can monitor and we can live stream. It's our opinion that making this transparent is the best way to alleviate the anxiety that comes from knowing that those drop boxes are just open to anything that people want to shove into them. And so making it visible, taking it public is the way that we hope, in one of many ways that we hope to push back this general election cycle. Amen. Watch what happens at those drop boxes. And for people who say, I'm just one person, what difference can I make? Get involved. Find something that you're passionate about. One person can change the world, okay? So I got a flag from Aunt Cindy. Thank you to Pat, and thank you to G. Fontes for the Rumble Rants tips. I appreciate it so much. You know how much I appreciate this. And Pat says, I don't know how God makes decisions. No one does, but I'm sure glad he is the one making them. And I couldn't agree more. And, that's a great way to go out. It's a great way to go out. So listen, thank you all for sticking with the show for the week. I am really lucky to have you all. And I've heard many of you all say this is the, hi, Greg. I have a look at it in the live chat. I'm taking my GoPro. It's setting up camp. Well done, my friend. Well done. Oh my gosh. You don't want to even see the text message that Commander Melanie sent me about Kamala. I'm not even going to say it on the air because it's not safe. But listen, folks, Thank you for sticking with me. This is your show. It always will be. Make sure you smash that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video. Tell your family and your friends to subscribe to Battleground Live. We want them in the trenches fighting to save this country. And as always, folks, God bless you all. I'll see you on Monday. We got an amazing week planned. God bless you all, and God bless this amazing country that we call home. Take care, good night, and I will see you on Monday. Have a great, great weekend. Hey, celebrate the victories while we have them. Enjoy them with revels. Take care. God bless. I'll see you Monday.